I'm Chef Ken Arnone, and now we're going to be working with a traditional Italian sweetbread called Panettone. This delicious bread was started in the town of Milan, was typically baked once a year, right around the holiday time, and served during Christmas and sometimes New Year. It is a very light, buttery bread that often has dried fruit, sometimes raisins, inside of it. Now, the Italians would eat this for breakfast. They might have it for lunch with a sweet dessert wine, or they might even have it for dessert. Perugina is one of the top producers of panettone in Italy, and that's the product that we're going to be working with today. So what we're going to be doing is making a recipe for panettone French toast. First, we're going to remove the wrapping or the paper. And then for the French toast, we want to cut the panettone in half. This will make the slices much more manageable. And then from there, we can cut into slices. You're looking for slices that are about 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick. And once we finish here, we're going to cut these in half just one more time. Again, this will make them a little bit more manageable. Sometimes people prefer to cut the bottom crust off because that can be a little bit thicker and doesn't absorb as easily. And I'm going to begin to place the slices into a glass baking dish. And now that we have the panettone cut, we're going to make the custard. We're going to start with 6 eggs, and make sure that you whisk up the eggs first. If you whisk the eggs first on their own before you add the milk and the cream, you won't have to chase them around. We're going to add our milk, 1 cup. And then we're going to add our 1/2 cup of cream. And to this base, we're going to add roughly 4 tablespoons of sugar. If you like it a little bit sweeter, you can certainly add a bit more. Keep in mind that the panettone is sweet on its own. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You can also add almond extract. It goes very well with the flavors of panettone. And we're going to add cinnamon. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And we're going to pour that over the bread. Now, I'm only going to use half of this because we just used the bottom half of the panettone for this. And this is enough for 1 full panettone. You want to allow this to set and soak so that the bread begins to absorb the custard. Now that the panettone has been soaking in the custard for about 2 minutes, we're going to turn them over. You want to be very careful with this. I would recommend using your hands because the panettone bread is very delicate and you don't want it to fall apart using tongs or a spatula. Just one thing you want to make sure is that you do wash your hands before and after turning the panettone. Now we want to let it sit and soak and absorb the custard on the other side so that it's evenly absorbed throughout. And now the panettone has had a chance to absorb the custard. It's been about 5 minutes or so total soak time. And now we're going to cook the French toast. You want to preheat a saute pan over medium heat. Once the pan gets hot, you're going to start with some olive oil. This is pure olive oil, not extra virgin, just enough to lightly coat the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to add a bit of butter. Once the butter is fully melted, we're going to begin adding our slices of panettone. We're going to allow the slices of French toast to cook for approximately 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Now we're ready to turn over our slices, and we're going to continue to cook these again for about 2 minutes on this side as well. The panettone French toast is ready to plate up. We're going to add some mascarpone cheese right on top. We're going to sprinkle with some powdered sugar, a little bit of cocoa powder, and we're going to serve that with some maple syrup on the side. And there you have an interesting way to use panettone in French toast.